welcome back to The Square. I am your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
Today is May 12th. We are going to dive into our NFL Power Rankings show. This is our post-draft Power Rankings here. This is, again, another take two, I guess. But we are going to be doing basically the top 10 of the Power Rankings for us, just kind of the most relevant. What I would consider probably closer to like a Super Bowl bubble, if you will.
Yeah.
So these are going to be the teams that we both believe are going to be forces to be reckoned with. These are the cream of the crop in the NFL this year, as it stands right after the draft. Now, if you want to see the full list, we'll get them put up on the Twitter. It's at @the_square pod. You can go check out that whole list there. Both my list and yours. We do have two separate lists here. And we'll just keep track of these throughout the season. And yeah, like I said, you can just go follow it there. Also, like, rate, and subscribe to the show. I'll just kind of get that out of the way right now, and make sure that you share the podcast with a friend, and we'll be able to continue to grow this community here. But with all those semantics and kind of housekeeping things out of the way, we can go ahead and dive in.
Great.
Start at 10, work our way to 1. Who do you got as your 10th best team ranked in your power rankings here?
Well, coming in at 10, I got the Seattle Seahawks.
Interesting. I have them literally right outside the top 10.
That's fine. I figured it'd be somewhere around there. This was a little difficult around between like 9 and 13. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not actual science to that. Yeah. It's very close in that area. If it's some variation of those teams on the list, I wouldn't have much to say about it. But back to Seattle. Russell Wilson, is coming back. I don't know what kind of tour this will be. It's not like a redemption tour or
not a revenge tour,
kiss and make up tour. With Pete Carroll and upper management. I don't know.
To me, it looks like this is like the last dance for these guys. I feel like we all know if it does not work out, if they do not end with rings on their hands this summer.
Okay, well, we know that's not going to happen. So
it's it. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I feel like if they don't win, they're separating next year.
And the reason why I'm saying that, if anybody's thinking I'm sour on them, it first and foremost, completely completely shit the bed in the draft. They didn't have any draft picks.
They had 3. Missed on all of them.
I think they were all just, we're going out the best available at the time. I don't think they even. I know it's had to be frustrating when you have 3 picks in the entire draft and you got a handful of teams that got, 8+ picks going. You just watching players just going off the board. I mean, they probably had 2 people in the war room. I mean, the last 2 that the 2 bottom
front office staff.
That was the least seniority guys that just had to stay back, and they was left with all the notes, and hey,
do your best,
make us proud, and they and so the draft I thought was a fail for them. Free agency period, I guess retaining, in quotation, I'm doing a little air quotes here, retaining Russell Wilson was really the only move, if you want to use the word.
I think they re-signed him and extended him.
Like I said, retaining Russell Wilson. Yes, they re-signed Tyler Lockett. I'm not big on that re-signing. I think it was a reach in the aspect of, I think the deal was just, it was more of like a hometown, a hometown special. They just kind of gave him a discount, or gave him the hometown deal, I should say.
Yeah.
Because the contract was ridiculous in the aspect of what his output has been, specifically like last year. I'm like,
he had 3 good games last year. Cool. Did not show up in the playoffs.
No, and the 3 games were here and there, few and far between. There was like one. It basically, he had 1 good game each month.
Yeah.
Of the season, not literally. I mean, his numbers were decent, but from an impactful aspect, Tyler Lockett he did not have a good season last year. It was not productive at all. you know, and it's a lot of buzz about the DK Metcalf, and that's fine. But what do you do to help DK Metcalf in the offseason? We let David Moore go. Mr. Unsung
Yeah.
wide receiver number 3 that most people don't even know who I'm talking about right now, but he's over in Carolina right now as the number 3 receiver in Carolina. So, um, yeah. So I guess they, more targets for DK Metcalf. I guess more targets for Lockett. Maybe
I feel like
they just didn't do anything
I feel like they
to.
got worse.
Yeah, they did nothing
Yeah.
on either side of the ball. I mean, you could say they re-signed Lockett, they re-signed Carson.
That's
They
it.
and they made sure Russell Wilson didn't go anywhere. That's all they done. They
And the
didn't do
thing
much.
that kind of messes me up about Seattle is you have a guy who made it clear he's okay if he needs to leave Seattle. Like he's not married to you. He's not he's not enamored with the situation here.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is the pretense to what's happening in Green Bay right now, where we heard rumblings and stuff going on with Aaron Rodgers in the front office up in Green Bay and this, that, the other. All this stuff is a little bit contentious there. There's a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of issues between Aaron Rodgers and the head coach and all this stuff. And they went out there, they started winning games, and it kind of got swept under the rug. Nobody was really talking about it anymore. And then, boom, out of nowhere, we're all surprised draft day. Oh, Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be in Green Bay anymore. Look, not anymore. He hasn't wanted to be in Green Bay. Like, this is a
Right.
thing. We know this, and we've known 2 years ago. Russell Wilson he's not really sold on what's happening in Seattle right now. He's not happy with the decision making in the front office, and he'd like to see more. He's made his opinion heard on talk show radio, just kind of saying, "Hey, I would like us to probably go after a guy like this. Definitely think that we need a better offensive line." And yes, he's been getting hit just as much as Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson's been getting hit over the last few years. Like,
Right.
you really want to kind of continue to just let him be subject to that again and again, and clearly they do, because they did not go in. Yes, you re-signed Chris Carson, who got injured because he was getting hit a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but then you don't go beef up the offensive line to go protect your guy a bit more. Like, you got no,
I'm gonna do you one better. They don't even bolster up the running back core. It's
or
really
get better, or get any nice comparable wide receiver to go back into that committee, or anything, or get a better defense to make sure that you're trying to, like, they literally what moves did they, like, literally I think only thing that they did was re-sign 2 guys, and that was it.
pretty much. Yeah,
They've made no other transactions.
we could sit there and talk about they picked up Carlos Dunlap. Yes, okay. And then they picked up Alden Smith. I get it, but that's not. You know what I'm saying? Those
That
are
doesn't move the needle.
no, not those not on standalone.
That's not going to get you
value.
beating anybody in your division. That's not going to get you. eh, I'm
And then they drafted this receiver, this Dwayne Estrick. Okay,
Cool.
check this out. No, it's not cool. Actually,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like,
it's you know how I feel about this. 5'9", 190.
oh god, is he
Okay.
not smaller than Devontae Smith?
The problem.
He's Devontae Smith light without the Heisman.
Hold on, don't. Hold on. I said 5'9", 190, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is. I mean, as I seen this, I'm disheartening with this. I was like, well, just maybe. Tyler Lockett is 5'10", 182. Thank you. I just needed to say that together. This is what Seattle is going to look like next year.
They're gonna look. That is, if they didn't have DK Metcalf, that would be a much worse situation than even the Washington football team situation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe that's the new trend, and I'm not there yet. But this small,
These small Jalen Rieger got hurt. Henry Ruggs got hurt. Like, these guys can't stay on the freaking field, and those guys are bigger than What are we talking about here?
And he's fourth on the depth chart. I mean, yeah, he's because they
Who
got
do they have ranked above him?
Freddie Swain.
He's not making the roster.
He's in the starting line. He's the third. He took David Moore's position. This is what I was just getting. Okay, as bad as we talking about it, they are ranked 10
because they have Russell Wilson.
True.
That's it. And that's literally the only thing. And that's why I don't have them in the Super Bowl bubble.
Where they're at is what keeps them right they are.
Yeah.
Why I'm talking about them, because you can't be this high and just be, hold and serve. That's not going to work. And especially after what just went down in the offseason. And what has Seattle done to satisfy or even begin to satisfy, look, we're making all the strides to keep you here. Why? By re-signing two guys that was there last year? Great. One
guy that wasn't, because he was gone half the season.
Well, yeah, that too. Hell, both of them for that matter. I mean,
true, yeah. But yeah.
Anyway, so Freddie Swain, yes. Okay.
I'm not.
Oh, he's a second-year player.
I'm not enamored by anything Seattle did this offseason.
6th rounder.
They needed to do a lot more to get put back into the Super Bowl bubble after the way that their season ended last year. It is. I've seen their roster. It's bad. It's a situation where this team, they need a lot of help. And granted, they have some time to figure it out. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. They do have some time to put some more pieces around them. Again, Julio Jones is still on the trade block right now. That could be a situation that they're kind of banking on. And hopefully they could probably try to make some sort of a trade for offensive line help, because those are the two biggest things that they need.
Yep.
But that's why they're not in my Super Bowl bubble. Russell Wilson gets you into the top half of the league no matter what. But for me, I didn't put them into the top 10 specifically because they don't, like, it's Russell Wilson on the offense and then just a bunch of guys. Sorry, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and then just a bunch of guys. And so that didn't work last year. It's not going to work this year. And it's actually going to be worse this year because I think they actually lost offensive line talent this season as well. And that's air quotes there because their offensive line was trash last year. So, I mean, they're in a bad spot. But again, Russell Wilson he makes miraculous plays again and again and again every single year. And we start talking about him in MVP discussion within the first 4 weeks of the season, no matter what. He is always an early September MVP candidate every single year, and he usually carries through most of the way until, for some reason, we just continue to kick him out of that conversation just in weeks 16, 17.
Seattle is not a second half season sexy team at all whatsoever.
And with the guys that they're trotting out there at receiver, they're not going to make it to the second half of the season. So,
yeah.
So, my number 10 team, you're not going to like this. I got the LA Chargers. Top 10. Justin Herbert, year 2.
Oh my God, I got them at 20. Are you sick?
I do not have Justin Herbert going with the sophomore slump. I see progression.
Okay, y'all hearing? I'm gonna let you finish, but y'all hearing this right? I hope y'all hearing. Go ahead.
I do not foresee a Justin Herbert regression. I see progression. I see him getting better. And the reason why is because it's an organizational thing. It's not because just he's that good. He's that talented. They put the pieces around him this offseason. They have completely bolstered their offensive line. They have gotten one of the strongest offensive lines in the league. They went to go get Green Bay center. They went and got Rashawn Slater. They got one more interior offensive lineman too. Like they just went all in on protecting Justin Herbert. So a young QB that's not getting hit as much gets a little bit more time to make his reads. That gives me the optimism to see him actually being able to pick apart defenses, and with the arm that he has, he's been fantastic. Now, I will say they do have literally Keenan Allen and, again, just a bunch of guys at the skill positions outside of QB, but I think he's going to be able to with the top with him having the protection that he has up front, I'm excited to see what Justin Herbert's going to do this season.
Okay, I'm very curious on what you're waiting to see. You waiting to see this guy do some kind of Tim Tebow-ish? No, just stop. I'm still talking. Tim Tebow-ish slash um, uh, Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee type resurgent, just pick apart offenses. I mean, the defenses and it's just a tactician all the way down the field. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you glossed over the whole, there's the Keenan Allen and a bunch of other guys. Let's talk about the bunch of other guys. Cuz those a bunch who are these other guys? I'll wait.
I forget the running back's name. Austin Eckler. They got Austin Eckler.
Great, wonderful. Injured last year.
Yes, and he comes back. Hopefully,
he comes back, and that's fine. I'm just saying. And if he gets hurt for any reason, who was his backup? What committee do they have over there?
They don't. Tyrell Williams on the other side.
They brought him back.
It's there. I don't know if it's Tyrell. It's a Williams guy. I can't remember.
No, don't you worry. I'll get to this in a second. Oh no!
Even
I'm not
with
letting
that,
you off the hook with this one. This is crazy. Everything sounds great until after you said Justin Herbert. It starts and ends with the quarterback, and I don't mean like it's all in his hand. I mean, there's not much around him in talent, and I get
but
that.
He was getting hit a lot last year.
Mike Williams,
Keenan
Allen. I remember that. Justin Jackson. They're gonna bring him back. Joshua Kelly. I do like Chase Daniels. I like the backup, but if he's playing, there's really a problem.
There's huge issues happening.
Oh, they picked up Jared Cook to replace Hunter Henry. Jalen Guyton that was the rookie they picked up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I'm not trashing the offense. I don't see how to. I just didn't see the offense making that monumental jump.
I think it comes because I think nobody gives. Again, it's not the sexy thing to do, but it's the right thing to do. Get your young quarterback protection. Mm-hmm. This is what Cincinnati should have done. This is what, and I think this is what gives him the ability to make that jump to be that guy that actually wins them games, not the guy that just doesn't lose you the game.
Right.
I think that's where the difference comes in, and I think that's an organizational thing. Set your young QB up to make the play. Give him the opportunity to make that play. The thing that the New York Jets never did for Sam Darnold. The thing that the Chicago Bears never did for Mitch Trubisky. The thing that these young QBs fizzle out because they're getting absolutely murdered. Joe Burrow, we only got to see, 7 games of him last year because he literally had his knee explode on the field when he got hit after the 400th hit after 7th game. Like, that's where I'm at with it, where it's like I think that organizationally they have set him up to be successful this year by giving him the ability to just be able to snap the ball, make his reads, and get the ball out. He doesn't have to worry about the overwhelming amount of pressure that he's going to have because he's going to have protection this year. Yes, every QB is going to get hit. It's football. That's the nature of the game. But when you're able to take a rep and actually learn on the fly on that rep because you're actually able to decipher a defense, see where the blitz is coming from, make your throw within a 3-second period because you literally have that 3 seconds of time, not having somebody in your face literally as you snap the ball.
Right.
You're able to make plays in actually wow people because we know he has the talent. We saw the talent last year. Now he has the ability to make plays, I think, because of the offensive line. Now, yes, the next thing that they have to do, clearly, is to get more weapons on the offensive side of the ball. But until then, he's going to have to be the guy that makes the plays, and he's going to have the opportunity to because the ball is going to be in his hands every single play.
True. Left out one little small detail that the rest of the league now has a whole season of tape for this guy.
That's a fair argument. There.
I know you're saying there's not going to be. It may not be a sophomore slump, but you're making it sound like there's going to be no issues with this guy, that it's going to be in his
I'm not
year.
saying that there's not going to be growing pains. I'm not going to say that there's not going to be rough weeks ahead. Never. Like
if they finish in the top 10, there ain't going to be too many rough weeks. So What are you talking
you're
about?
gonna.
One or two?
I think there's going to be a couple of weeks where it's not going to look too pretty, but I do think that even because again, it might not be a case where these things turn into wins, but these are going to be tough fought games and close games, and they're going to be games where they're going to be in it, not going to be games where they're getting blown out like they were last year. There, you saw his talent last year, but they were losing games 30 to by like 10 points or whatever. Like
Mhm.
they just weren't able to stay in the game. And that's mainly because he was getting hit and he wasn't able to get the ball out. But now that you have an offensive line for him to make plays, if he even with his legs, like he's got speed, he's actually laid hits down on linebackers. Like he can actually move. He reminds me a little bit of Josh Allen. Just he needs to show those actual attributes. So
Mm. Their losses wasn't as bad as we remember them. Just their last loss was
no, yeah,
one against New England, 45-0. But they lost to Buffalo 27-17, lost to
10-point
Miami
loss.
29-21, lost to Vegas 31-26, lost to Denver 31-30, lost to New Orleans in overtime 30-27, lost to Tampa Bay 38-31, lost to Carolina 21-16, and lost to Kansas City 23-20 in overtime.
Plus, you have a new head coach. I think that those half of the one score games definitely can get swayed back into the win column for them, and that's going to be a situation where they get into hopefully above 500 range,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be starting to get them into the talks into the playoffs. So I think that's where I think some of those things are going to get swayed. I think that offensive line alone gives them the ability to, hey, it's 50-50 going into those one score games now.
Right.
We have a chance. We can actually get down to if we're starting at the 35, the 25. We actually have a shot at getting down the field this time and getting that score.
Got it. All right, but 10, I don't know. That's a little too rich for my blood. I mean, man,
We can tell.
10 full picks. Now that's the biggest disparity we got so
Yeah,
far now.
that definitely is.
Wow. Huh.
Number 9.
Huh. Okay, at 9, I have the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
Um, arguably probably going. I mean, they're arguably the best team in their division now. I mean, who we got over there?
Indy.
Houston. Oh,
Indy.
I said arguably.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It's Tennessee and Indy. Like
Right.
that's
It's
the
whoever
right
wants
now.
it the most. I'm leaning more toward the the fact that they're the most seasoned team in the division, and definitely the most they got chemistry, and they have some,
Yeah.
they've been together. And Indianapolis is kind of one of those teams being built, kind of being put together overnight. So well, over the past year actually, but it's just they're still putting pieces together and trying to bring
Yeah.
it all together. But which is going to make for a very interesting division this year in the South. But they bringing everybody back, Tannehill,
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Wow. I'm tired.
Gotcha.
Derrick Henry, what is his name?
AJ Brown.
Is it AJ? Why was I thinking? I'm somewhere looking at the word Guyton, and that's AJ Guyton in the NBA. Moving on. I'm tired. I'm gonna wake up here, but they basically bringing back everybody. I mean, minus Jared Cook. Jared Cook.
Sorry, yeah.
Wasn't using Jared Cook. Jared Cook was just out there. I just think Jared Cook liked the uniform and just kept putting it on every week.
They did have nice uniforms last year. I will give them that.
Yes. But I see no reason for regression here. Putting them at 9, I think they're going to be right in the thick of it as a playoff team. They're one of those teams you just, when the team is on, just, Tennessee they are the AFC's version of Philadelphia. The team you do not want to meet in the playoffs. Like, when they're on. Philadelphia is never, Philadelphia doesn't necessarily, they never that team that just got in. They always they're really there making, making waves, coming in on a 3-4 game week win streak.
Yeah.
It is something like they're running a hot wave. You just you don't want to face them in the playoffs. Tennessee gives me that same vibe. It's like no matter what, I don't want to face you. I mean, granted, like
To me, that's Buffalo in the AFC. That's a team I do not want to see in the playoffs. Tennessee, it's a tough matchup, but
no. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. I mean, okay, I don't want to see Kansas City in the playoffs.
no,
You know what I'm saying?
fair.
That's what I'm getting at. Take Buffalo out of this.
Yeah,
We talking about those teams that's not necessarily the upper echelon, not the, we talk about the next level,
tier
next
two,
tier teams.
tier two.
Yeah, the ones, the ones who, if they catch lightning in the bottle, will sneak you, and all of a sudden, you find yourself, like New England 2 years ago, getting knocked out by Tennessee as an example.
Yeah.
Like no one seen that coming. I don't even think Tennessee seen it coming.
Well, to me, Tennessee, that's what I think it is with Tennessee, though. I think that they caught lightning in a bottle 2 years ago. They're a good team. 2 years ago, though, they caught lightning in a bottle. They beat a completely injured, battered, and just had no weapons on the offensive side of the ball New England team.
Mhm.
And then they caught a young Lamar Jackson not ready for the playoff football, and then they ran into a buzzsaw in Kansas City and got absolutely trounced.
Mhm.
And they did get out to a quick 10 point lead, but then they got dismantled after that. And Pat Mahomes just picked them apart, and that was what we all started putting Pat Mahomes in the GOAT conversation. Now, to me, Tennessee, and then last year they came in. They're a good team, and they played and they played very tough football in the playoffs. I'll give them that. And again, this is a team that you don't want to see. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a 50-50 matchup in there. But I am looking at regression here because I think teams are getting a little bit more comfortable on locking down on AJ Brown. And to a degree, I mean, he is one of these physical wide receivers that he's catching anything that's coming his way.
Right.
But I think people are being able to start bracketing him and then figuring out on the other side just playing man to man.
Well, I mean,
And I think the reason why it is tough to play them is because they do have a stable of physical guys. Mike Vrabel is a fantastic head coach on making sure that his guys are gritty, and he's not this. And I don't mean to call Motor City Dan Campbell out there fake. We just haven't seen it yet from him. He's trying to put on this persona of grit, and this is going to be a hard, tough team. Mike Vrabel doesn't have to try to put on that persona. Like, he just tells you, hey, we're going to play you tough. And they go out there, and every single time you see Tennessee, it is a game won in the trenches. So that's where I'm like, they're not too far behind. I have them at 12 on my list.
Right.
They're still in the playoff bubble. They're still in that top 12. But to me, I just think that I don't know if it's going to be another year where we're saying, well, yeah, Ryan Tannehill is going to be he's something he's going to be our franchise quarterback. Derrick Henry, yes, he is the offense, kind of the same way Carolina's offense is just Christian McCaffrey. But then you got AJ Brown. Yeah, okay. That's a solid stable on the offense. Kind of 86 Ryan Tannehill there. Then defensively is where I think that they're going to really actually take a step back. I'm not enamored with what they did on the defensive side of the ball. So I do think that there are going to be teams that are going to be able to run up the score on them. And then that's where I think that Ryan Tannehill is not going to be able to kind of get them over that hump. Okay. Defensively, I think that they've been one of those grittiest teams, but you've lost some of that pass rushing talent. And yes, I know he didn't put up the sack numbers that we expected last year, but still Jadeveon Clowney got pressures last year at least. So that's where I'm like, that's where the difference is to me. I think losing a talent like that, losing talent across the board on the defense, they're going to have to play catch up on the offensive side of the ball, and I don't know if Ryan Tannehill can get that done. So that's where I see the regression, is that they're going to have to see, not hero ball per se, but they're going to need to see more out of Ryan Tannehill to win games, not just to game manage and not lose you the game, if you will.
That's fine. Like I was saying, between like 9 and 13, it's gonna be kind of jumbled. I mean, or somewhere, anywhere in that little it, I could see it shuffled in there because it's very hard to slate these guys because, and we're taking minute things to
Nitpicking
make
at this point,
to
yeah.
yeah. Well, this is the reason why they're regressing. This is the reason why
Yeah.
they're gonna move up. It'll be one little element. I mean, it's
But
coming.
those things are big things, but they are,
Yeah,
yeah.
very different than what we how we rank the back end
Yeah.
is. So yeah,
All
there
right,
we
my
go.
number 9, I got the Los Angeles Rams.
Hmm.
I like Matthew Stafford, man. I I think that him coming in this offense is going to be completely different look than what they had with Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense has already stepped up last year. I mean, obviously they got Aaron Donald over there, but even Leonard Floyd coming in having a complete resurgence of his career
Mm-hmm.
in with the Rams, that's been a kind of whirlwind for him. Um, they've just kind of changed their persona on the defensive side of the ball. They look really good on that side, and then now you got Matthew Stafford. I like Cam Akers. I think year 2 is going to be a nice season for him. He's going to be able to eat a little bit, and then wide receiver wise, Robert Woods. What's the white kid's name?
Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup.
Better get some Cooper in your cup.
Yeah, no, he's they're nice, and Robert Woods. Like, yes, these guys are not just these grade A number ones, but this is where you start seeing a roster with depth. They can kind of kill you anywhere. Then these guys are fast. Like they've got some real speed on them, and so I just like what they're building over there, and I think that Sean McVay and the Rams are going to be a really tough team to beat in the NFC West.
And
So
don't forget the veteran now. They brought over they brought over Deshaun Jackson
oh yes,
as the number 3.
yeah.
So I mean, if nothing
If he
else,
can
he
stay
got
healthy,
he's a
man.
mentor. He can at
Yeah.
least mentor these like the Cooper Cup.
Plus they got a rookie wide receiver, I think, as well.
I think it is Tutu Atwell.
Tutu Atwell, yep. And I think that's specifically why they brought Deshaun Jackson over, is they wanted to make sure that they had somebody that could.
2 guys, and they brought over. I mean, and they drafted. No, 1 guy. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Van Jeff. They got Van Jefferson, but he was their rookie from last year.
gotcha. So yeah,
Second
no,
year.
I like their receiving core. I think they got a really deep receiving core, and so and with those 2 guys up top, Robert Woods and Cooper Cup,
Yep.
they're gonna look real nice on the offensive side of the ball. Now this is
what Deshaun Jackson does. The question is who runs in the who's gonna run in the slot now? Is it gonna be Cup or is it gonna be Jackson or are they gonna just rotate it? Or is it
I
even
think they
gonna
can
be
rotate it
Woods?
because
I mean,
Cup,
any of the 3 can actually run.
I think that's the beauty of this offense, is that literally you're not expecting one guy to line up in that one's position. Like they could switch him out. Cooper Cup can go on the outside. I actually think I like Cooper Cup on the outside more because of the way that he busts open the seams down the sideline. The way that he's
the way he made his name.
It's not, but it's
slot.
definitely the way that he's been playing last year. Was they were literally just all this smoke and mirrors up front, Cooper Cup going down the sideline, and he was catching 40-yard bombs.
Right.
And I'm like, now you have a guy that's actually accurate and can hit him consistently. Who, I like him out there. And then Deshaun Jackson, if you don't have to send him super far down the field, reserve his legs a little bit, make sure that he doesn't get a pulled hamstring or anything like that. Let's hope that he can actually play at least half the season.
I think if they get 8 games, that's
Yeah.
a win for them.
100%.
And I'm not expecting him to play 16 or 17 games.
I'm really expecting him to literally just be the guy that he is Tutu Atwell's personal coach.
That's more than fair, and yeah, they got a couple of young guys behind them. Yeah, they got a nice core, and that's where you sold me at the depth. I was just like, they're not necessarily all household sexy names, but there are some solid players. I mean, they got a really solid team here, and I think they upgraded what it needed to upgrade. Definitely a quarterback,
100%,
hands down. You know, they getting away from the running back carousel nightmare that they had last year. So they're gonna make Cam Akers their guy.
Yep.
They're gonna let Daryl Henderson back him up just in case there's any regression. Now you got
Or any
last year's
injury.
starter, and now you can just run a normal committee
Yeah.
of split carries between these two guys. Yeah, they have an Xavier Jones back there. We'll
An
see
extra
you
guy,
later
another
on.
guy. Yeah.
If we need, we'll just be
Practice
on
squad
reserve
player.
and wait around. He's number 3.
Yeah.
Raymond
Khalil.
Calais.
Calais.
Yeah. That's your practice guy.
Gotcha.
But Xavier Jones, I'm just saying he's your third down back or your number 3, but this is a guy you're gonna see 4 games in the season if you just you just happen to be still watching at the end of he's a rookie, so that's somebody they grooming. Um, uh, rookie running back out of SMU.
Gotcha.
5'11", 208. Man, they like the short guys, I tell you.
Yeah.
There ain't no tall running backs, are there?
But I will say they are in LA, so you don't need as physical as a guy. It's not like you need some guy that's gonna be big, burly, and keep himself warm on the sideline when when the defense is out there.
Hey! There's some cool evenings in October in LA.
So chilly in LA. I feel so bad for
cool
you guys
evenings.
out there.
I can't even say the word cold. Anyway, this guy's from Texas. I mean, it's cold in California compared to Texas.
Freezing. I feel so bad for you out there.
Anyway,
I like what
SMU is in Texas, right? Did I say that right?
I think so.
I believe so too. Okay.
I think the Rams have a really nice team, and I think that, again, depth on the offensive side, the way that their defense stepped up last year, if they can continue that, this is going to be one of the toughest teams to play week in, week out in the NFL.
I agree. Great segue. That's my number 18.
No, perfect.
I got the Rams.
Now I have
one step higher.
Yeah.
I got just like, yeah. They need to go a little higher than that.
Well, the team that I have above them is
like
their NFC West counterpart, and this is where me and you, I think, definitely disagreed with San Francisco.
Yeah. What is it? What are you an AFC West apologist or something? Like, what is going on over
No,
here?
my only
What is all this love over here for the West? Whether it's AFC or NFC, it does not matter. But for the Western divisions, you just want to shove all the West Coast teams up in this top 10 some kind of way.
San Francisco, I think, with getting all of their literally their entire team back this year, they don't have to go in with Nick Mullins at all anymore. I think Jimmy Garoppolo coming in, he's gonna hopefully stay as healthy as he possibly can, and if he doesn't, you got a really talented young kid in Trey Lance coming in that's going to be hard to stop. So I think whatever the direction they want to go with that, they're going to be set at the quarterback position for sure this season. Don't get rid of Jimmy out there in San Francisco. Don't trade him away. Keep him on the roster. Start him. And then once Trey Lance is ready, and you have Jimmy as a backup. And that's the perfect situation, I think, for them this year. Now,
I'm so shocked you don't have Vegas in the top 10.
God, no, and I gave very clear reasoning why, and you know exactly why I have them. We talked about it yesterday.
I was only saying that from the Oakland Tides. Like, you're gonna find a way to get all the West Coast teams up in there some kind of way. Vegas is West enough.
Drop it. I think that with San Francisco's defense, their offense doesn't have to do too much. They just have to go run their system, put up at least 25 points, you're fine. Defensively, they're going to come back, and they're going to play really good football this year. I think that they've got one of the best defensive rosters in the league. And it's really just as simple as that. I really like that they're getting back. Nick Bosa is coming back, finally. And hopefully he'll be able to stay healthy for the full season this year. And this team is going to just really be a force to be reckoned with, I think.
Stop. Remember what you just talked about with the Rams.
Yes.
Hold on to that. Hold on tight. Remember just what we discussed about Seattle. Yeah, I don't see them falling out by the wayside. And unfortunately in this show, but we talked off air. We talked in depth. I mean, not in depth, but somewhat about Arizona. Then there's San Francisco. Okay, who are they finna springboard over all these teams to be back in the top
They literally had all of their guys go down last year.
This is a whole different. They're this is my take. I think they're behind the curve now. Like you can't come back with that and think that's just gonna we just gonna do what we've been doing and we'll be just fine. And I don't think so because maybe Seattle was regressing a little bit, but you still got the Chargers in Arizona that's surging. That I believe is going to be
Chargers aren't in that division.
Who? Did I say No. L.A. I'm talking about the Rams.
The Rams. Okay.
And then you got Arizona.
Yes.
That I think is on the rise. And now you're saying San Francisco is just going to come back. Like, no.
Well, no, you have to look at the amount of injuries that they had last year. Guys going on season-ending injury. Like, they just had they didn't have anybody.
That was over half the league last year, though.
No, it really wasn't.
Yeah,
Not the way San Francisco had it. Yes, you had guys go down for a couple of weeks because they had to get quarantined due to COVID. They had guys go down for 8, 9, 10, 16 weeks because they literally got injured and they couldn't come back. True. They had lost, and it wasn't just, oh, this is my third string corner that went down. This is my fifth freaking middle linebacker that went down. It wasn't that. It was their starting guys. They're literally centerpieces to their defense that went down. And they lost think it was in total they had 6 or 7 guys go down that way, but key guys they had 3 or 4, and Nick Bosa was the biggest one to me. He was the reason why that pass rush was that pass rush. And when he went down, they weren't able to put up nearly as much pressure as they were beforehand. And what we saw literally the year before in the way that he was playing early on in the season, he was literally wrecking the league. He was killing quarterbacks.
And then the year before that, they wasn't. So there's not. We're just talking about one single season, not a string, not a pattern.
No, and I get that, but the way that season started for them, their defense was better than the year before, and so that's where I'm getting. And yes, granted, they did lose Rob Salah, which I think is a huge loss. Mm-hmm. They don't have the guy that was coordinating all of that. So that's going to be an issue, but I do think that their defense can come back, still be at least a top 10 defense in the league, and they're going to wreak a lot of havoc on that side of the ball. And I think offensively, they literally just need to not F it up on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that they are going to be right there in playoff talks.
I'm not impressed with their offense. Their defense, yes. Their offense, they did nothing outside of Trey Lance.
That's fair.
And that's fine. And we discussed this already. But they just didn't do anything with the skill positions. Nothing. You know, I mean, granted, you get
Raheem Mostert coming back. I get that, and he's been injured time and time again. I understand.
Three freaking times.
I'm 100% on your side with that. Right. I get that. And same thing with Deebo Samuel and the rest of their receivers. Guys keep freaking going down. They can't stay healthy.
Jeff Wilson Jr.
Yep.
And I can't even name the other guys because they're gone now. They just got rid of everybody else. George Kittle was another one.
Yeah, he went down.
And I mean, man, kudos to my man for coming back at the end of the year.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't have.
No, I wouldn't either. But I mean, they didn't even find, okay, who's your backup to just in case he goes down again? Ross Dwelly, really?
Yeah, I know. I understand.
That's what I'm using.
Depth. I understand. You are big on depth, and that's you need to be big on depth because you're in the freaking NFL. You're gonna have guys getting injured.
Everything you said about the defense. Notice I didn't say a mumbling word over here. The minute you start talking about the offense, let me just stop because I'm like, look, they coming back. They finna roll this same team back out here. The only thing that will upgrade this lineup now is letting Trey Lance go.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Because I mean, and that in itself, I can't put you in my top 10. I mean, just not from you failed so far. I'm like, you have to earn your way back. It's not just because we're all healthy. Okay, top 10 team now. No. You got to go out there and prove that you was that team that was shocking the world 2 years ago.
I see, but this is where I'm at with this is where I'm at with San Francisco and with injuries specifically. When you get literally just decimated by injuries last year, I'm not going to penalize you for that and drop you all the way down to what do you have them at? 21. I'm not going to drop you 11 spots.
It's a power ranking, and that's based on last year plus the offseason plus the draft plus now we got to go into this year.
This is the team that you saw. This the team that they have though. The skill that
penalizing them.
Yes, it is.
No, I'm assessing.
You're penalizing them for the injuries that they've had.
No, because that's a valid assessment. They got injured.
Your team
they not only got injured, they had people who just kept trying to come back, and they just kept going back on the injured list. I'm like, dude, shut this team down. I'm like, y'all done, and then bust it up and break this team. No, let's bring us back as many people as we can. For what? To do what?
To be healthy and come back and play good football.
And look up at Arizona
because the offense does not. No, they don't have to. No, they're going to be better than They're going to be better than Arizona for sure.
You don't know that.
I do. I think
for certain
Arizona for certain. I think Arizona's a year away. I think next year Arizona's going to be a team that's
not on my power ranking, but I hear you. This is gonna be one of those because this is that part where like when the season starts, like, oh, okay, that was a miss.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that was a hit. I knew it. I'm gonna say, you gotta say I knew it.
Yeah.
But I'm much bigger on Arizona. I think they have really positioned themselves.
I'm excited for Arizona, but I just think that they're a year away. That's where I'm at with Arizona. I still think they got a lot of work to do on the defense side of the ball. And yes, granted, they've. I think that their first round pick was a miss. You reached. You could have gotten much more valuable in guys that you actually needed this year. You could have got Gregory Rousseau. You could have got Kwity Paye.
True.
You could have got so many guys that can make an impact this year.
But they knocked. I think they knocked. But they had such a good free agency. Period. I think that.
Okay, cool. You got JJ Watt. You got JJ Watt. But when has JJ Watt been healthy for a full season? That's what 8 years ago.
He's playing in Houston, but they ain't got nothing going on in Houston on either side of the ball.
They've been in the playoffs 2 years in a row.
What 2 years in a row? When? How many years ago?
With Deshaun Watson.
I mean, how many years ago though? How many years ago?
2 years ago. They literally were up 24-0 on your Chiefs.
It had nothing to do with him. It wasn't because of J.J. Watt and the defense. It was because of all of what Deshaun Watson was doing. They have
That's what I'm saying. That J.J. Watt wasn't.
J.J. Watt is now going away from this crappy team. Stop putting him. Stop lumping him in this pan of just all of the.
And that's fair. Who's their other pass rusher? Chandler Jones? Is he still the other pass rusher? I'm sorry. I don't think you're putting aging J.J. Watt and aging Chandler Jones as my yes, those are scary guys. If I was the quarterback on the other side, I
ain't talking about team building. We're talking about next year. We're talking about this upcoming season.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm looking at Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, facing them down. I think that my offensive line, hopefully, hold them for 2 seconds. I can get this ball out. I'm fine. I don't think that they're going to be able to break sack records. Like I'm not really worried about. They're going to cause pressure. They're going to cause some quick throws. Cool, but I think for the majority, they're going to be just we tried. I think J.J. Watt will probably be in the same conversation that we had Jadeveon Clowney in last year, and so with that being the case with Arizona on the front seven part of it. And then on the DB situation, their DBs, you got Budda Baker and who else?
Malcolm Butler, Jalen Thompson.
Doesn't do it for me.
Robert Alford.
Sorry, that's not going to cut it. You need to fix that.
Okay, if you think so. Again, we'll see. You putting a lot of stock in a team that was decimated last year. And all of a sudden, they're just going to bring everybody back. Didn't really add anything to any of it.
Outside of their offensive injuries, the guys that they got injured on defense don't usually get injuries like that. So I'm counting those as one-offs.
I understand.
Offensively, I get what you're saying. Defensively, though, I think that those guys are going to be just what they were, and that defense is going to be so nice that the offense just has to not F it up. And they are going to be right back in the playoff picture.
I don't see it that way.
I do think that.
I see what you're saying.
I think I need to. I think I do need to flip this, but I think it needs to be San Francisco at 9 and the Rams at 8. The Rams need to be above them, but outside of that, those are the two teams that I think have the best shot at winning this division this year. And I think it's going to be a very close finish as well.
All right, that's a bold statement. I don't agree. I got them slated at dead last in the West. You know, I don't know what the record would be. I just got them in last. Yeah, just like they were last year in last. They have not shown me nothing. Just say, oh, we're all coming back. Okay. Again, I always believed that year was an outlier. They came out of nowhere, and I'm like, I have nothing to go off of because I've never seen anything like that before. Like, just team just showed up one year and just like, here we are, and
Yeah.
like, okay, and the next year.
And you did explain that to me yesterday, and I understand it.
It's just,
and that's fine.
I got to see more body of work. So
I think
again, for the
yeah.
post draft edition, you're at 21 until you show me something different. You can be like, well, we're all healthy, great, wonderful. Now show me something on the field. Got to put it together because I've never seen teams that experience that kind of loss, that kind of shake up in their roster, those type of injuries or whatever the case, a combination of these things, and they come back and just be fine. It just, I've never seen that before. So it's just, it's.
I think if
asking a lot
anybody can get it done, it's Kyle Shanahan. Got a lot of faith in him.
All right, so
7.
So now you okay? So you got the Rams at 8.
Yeah, I
San
flipped those.
Francisco
Rams at
9.
8, San Francisco at 9.
21. Get out of here. All right, number 7. I got the Indianapolis Colts.
Same here. Love Indianapolis. I like the way that they're playing. And I think that they already had a great team, and I think that's bar none. They like last year, that team was great, and they literally just needed a quarterback to finish it. And I'm excited that Carson Wentz is there.
Yes, I am too. I was a little disappointed, back at the time when it happened. It was just, but good move. They needed to get somebody over there. They didn't waste no time. They didn't. Well, let's go get into the draft and let's see what happens, and we can will. And no. Like, look here, we gotta. Like, we just need a nice piece here. You don't need no bells and whistles. We just need somebody who knows how to throw the football, protect the ball, get the ball out when he needs to, not take the sack only if he needs to. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. We don't need anybody. We don't need nothing else. We don't need Superman. We don't need Tom Brady's and Superman's cape to fall out at the back of his uniform. We don't need none of that. We just need a nice game manager to go out there and manage this offense.
Yep.
They got that. They're dangerous. I don't know what else. They are dangerous. I know if I'm in the AFC, as a Chiefs fan, I don't want to see them in the playoffs unless it's the AFC Championship. I don't want to see you anytime before then, because I know I talk about how Tennessee can come in there and sneak you. They ain't gonna come in there and sneak you. They're just coming in and flat out beat you. Because as Buffalo, had y'all slipped up one more time, just took a pause on anything. That was it.
It was a wrap.
That was the end of your season. I mean, they were on you until there was no more time to be on you.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at their draft. I mean, they had Kwity Paye in the first round. I wish that they would have went with Rashad Bateman, got another.
Man, they should get an A+ for that pick.
No, I don't have an issue with it. I think that because their number one need is wide receiver. But hey, if you're looking to make sure that you got a generational talent at on the defense, the end. Kwity Paye definitely is that guy, so I'm not gonna knock that. That just oh my goodness, look at this freaking front four. You got Tyquan Lewis, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Kwity Paye. I'm sorry, I don't want to see that any week. That's just a front four. That's not even talking about any rushing linebackers. Is
Tyquan Lewis the starter?
That's what they have it listed as right now. I don't know.
They got him on a second string in mind, but that's fine. They got Grover Stewart at the right defensive tackle. Don't ask. I don't know. I'm just hey.
They got him at nose tackle listed on here. I don't know. They have
we're on different.
Lewis,
we're on different formats, so it's fine.
It's fine. But just those front four is going to be nasty, and then on their back end, they still look super nice. I just think that they're set on the defense. This is going to be one of the best defenses in the league again. And then offensively, they have a really nice offensive line. They bolstered it a little bit this year. They got Eric Fisher from Kansas City. That was a huge win. Yeah. Carson Wentz again. He's the new quarterback. I think Carson Wentz is definitely a step up over what's his name, the one who just retired.
Luck.
No. Just retired. That was 3 years ago. Phillip Rivers.
I keep forgetting, man. I keep retiring quarterbacks over there. I can't keep
That's
up.
true. That is true. But just their running back committee is insane. Jonathan Taylor, Naheem Hines, Marlon Mack. I'm surprised Marlon Mack returned. That
Yeah.
that one was insane to me. He was just
Well,
like
which is more interesting is the fact that he returned and Jordan Wilkins is still on the team.
true.
And Jordan Wilkins is a part of this group technically, but
Yes.
so they have 4 guys.
These gonna nasty. Like they're just gonna kill you in the running game, especially with the new offensive line. And then again, like I said, they do need to beef up their receiving core. T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal, Desmond Patton, and J.J. Nelson. Yeah, they need help there. I think it's really just T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, and Zach Pascal. But hey, I think when you have a running committee like that, like they do, Mo Alley Cox is your tight end, and Jack Doyle.
Yep.
I think that they're sitting in a real nice position this year to take over this division for one, and then to really make some noise in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be a one and done in the playoffs this year for sure.
No, I can't. I don't see that. And then of course it's going to come down to who gets one of the 2 buys, or how does it even work?
There's one
buy. Okay, it's okay. Kansas City got that one, so never mind. Moving on. You answered my question.
Yeah. So that's the situation that it is right now. It's gonna be very hard in these playoff runs now because you got 17 game schedule, plus you have an extra game that you have to play because you literally can't get the bye. So
and they took a bye away.
Yeah. So like at this point, like it's really hard, but I think that this team is so good that there's no possible way this is gonna be a one and done team.
I don't see it
outside of injury, obviously, but
right. Apart from that, this again, and I think we consistently put them at 7. So I mean, these are they're the real deal. So how was that?
This is a 7 trending up.
Yes, definitely.
All right,
more to come.
Let's talk number 6. Who do you have there?
The Browns.
I got them too, right there, locks up with you, Cleveland. Man, this team is looking good.
I've only waited my whole life. I'm not from Cleveland. Never been in Ohio ever in my life. However, the one constant thing that has been going on is Cleveland has sucked my entire life existence on this planet.
Yeah.
And which is interesting. I don't think I told you this. The best run that they probably had outside of I don't even know if it was a run back in Jim Brown days, but the best run that I've seen in the quote unquote modern era.
Yeah.
I just so happened your grandfather had me recording the AFC Championship game, and it was the Browns versus the Denver, and I ended up watching the Browns Super Bowl hopes snatched from them 1 yard away from the end zone as Ernest Biner got stripped at the 1.
Gotcha. I hear about that a lot.
This is the thing. I never remembered who the player was until years later to come find out that he actually redeemed himself and won a title with Washington.
Gotcha.
He was a starting running back in Washington in the 90s. I was like, oh my God, that was you? Like, Ernest Biner, like, dude. Look, I only say that to say I was like 9 or 10 when this happened. And now I'm sitting there and sitting across from you in this. I'm sitting there talking to my child, a grown child, and we're talking about years past. And guess what, people? The Browns have been no closer to the Super Bowl since then. Last year was probably the closest I've seen since then. Literally.
Last year was the first time that I've ever seen the Browns in the playoffs.
And that's fair because it's probably they maybe only got in there one of the times in your existence.
Yeah.
I think you were like a little kid at that.
Very small.
So, and that's they have a horrible history. So, with that, there's a lot of excitement generating in me just because I follow certain drought teams. Cleveland was just one of them. I was like, come on, man, you got the freaking, the Hall of Fame. Football Hall of Fame is in everything starts is in Ohio. How do y'all not have any titles? Like, come on. Let's go, Cleveland. If you face the Chiefs, I'm sorry. Just like last year, It was a nice run.
Oh my god, that game was so good
It
too.
was,
It was such a
and
good game.
unfortunately, I
And I
just knew
think that's
Cleveland
what
had to
gives me
lose.
that's what gives me so much excitement is that there is so much good football that's going to be played late in the season
Hmm.
just because of how many teams are legitimately good now. Like, and also they're new teams, and that's what kind of gives you kind of like a little bit more refreshment, a little bit more exciting. Like, I can't wait for September now because, man, I need to see this Cleveland Browns team on the field, a team where they get back Odell Beckham. I'm really hoping Odell doesn't ruin the chemistry that Baker Mayfield and the rest of those receivers created last year
That
because
remains
they
to be
played so
seen.
good.
Yeah.
But you got Jarvis Landry as well, Rashad Higgins, Donovan Peoples Jones. They have some work to do on the offensive line, as they always do. It's the Browns. But
Oh man,
also
you
got
gonna
Austin
put some.
Hooper.
I'm about to say you gonna put some respect on that man's name, Mr. Hooper.
Yeah, no, Austin Hooper, I love it.
Who?
Backup tight end Harrison
Now
Bryant.
he's going to be now. I'm gonna rip him if he come and put that same performance he did last year out there.
Yeah,
Because I'm like
he definitely needs to step up. He needed to do
I
a
was
little bit
giving
more.
you a pass for year one, but yeah, go on it.
But they return back Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That is an insane duo. Like,
Yes,
those are legitimate two number one running backs playing in this backfield this year. Again, I was surprised that Kareem Hunt was going to stay here. I thought he was going to ask for like a trade, get out of the contract somehow, and go get his money because he deserves to be a number one guy somewhere.
right.
And then this defense, insane. Their front four: Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett on the edges, Andrew Billings and Jordan Elliott in the middle. And then you're looking at linebackers in their next level: Anthony Walker.
Denzel Ward.
What's that?
Oh no.
No, you're
I'm
talking.
looking at the
Those are the
backfield. I'm looking
DBs.
at the backfield. Yeah.
But those guys are nice too. Denzel Ward. Then they got Greg Newsome as well at the cornerback position. You got safeties: Grant Delpit, John Johnson. It's just across the board. They got another rookie DB in Richard LeCount. This team's defense is going to be insane. And then you have an offense that played super well last year. That they ran the ball. They finally figured out, hey, we run the ball, and then we just let Baker Mayfield make one or two plays a game. We're going to be just fine. And I think this is going to be a team that I like them to win the division. I can't put them over Baltimore though, because it's Baltimore, and Baltimore has a history of actually getting it done.
Right.
So I have to have a little bit of a cautious hand with it, but I'm ready to move them up whenever the time comes.
Yeah, and in the background pacing, waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna follow behind that too much. I think you covered it, covered the team quite well. I agree. Yeah, with everything you were saying, I'm excited to see them. Not in week one, not too excited for y'all because y'all finna catch
gonna be a rough
that L.
start.
It's gonna be a very rough start for y'all. But with that being said, I like Cleveland.
Hey, Tampa Bay lost the first game of the season and ended up winning the Super Bowl. So hey,
True. And I mean, and after we just talked about Indianapolis, almost like we just turned over the coin, and then that was Cleveland.
it was literally the same thing.
Same scenario, which is
6-7
excited,
trending up,
but very excited about. Like, man, it's almost like it's about time. Like, where y'all been? Like you only could see. I mean, really, you can only watch Denver and Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I'm talking about in this grouping so many times. I mean, even Kansas City was a breath of fresh air. Technically, I'm like, they not. I mean, just until recently, it was every 3 to 6 seasons they would coming back. But they, and yeah, and then a sprinkle of Tennessee. But yeah, it was just like, man, come on. Because if I kept seeing a Baltimore Pittsburgh, a Sunday night game or that 3 o'clock on NBC CBS.
Yeah,
I'm taking a nap. I just had enough. It's
you're right.
Too much. We're moving on, but yeah, Cleveland at 6, definitely.
All right, let's talk number 5. I think we got the same one again here.
And the asterisks.
Yes, and this is with a huge asterisk. I got Green Bay sitting here.
Exactly.
And this is literally only if they have Aaron Rodgers. If they don't have Aaron Rodgers, they're probably back in the 20s.
That's changing everything. That's why I was asterisk. It's like it's really to be,
To be determined, because we don't like this when we get to our preseason power rankings. In Aaron Rodgers isn't there, they are not going to be anywhere near the top of this list.
No, they're not gonna be on this side of
Plus,
my page.
if Aaron Rodgers does leave, there was just an interview done. Aaron Rodgers decides that, hey, I'm not coming back, and you guys need to figure out a way to trade me. Devontae Adams said he's going to ask for a trade as well. Like, he's not playing there without Aaron Rodgers.
And the dominoes are about to begin to fall.
And I'm really feeling bad for Aaron Jones after he signed that contract.
I can't feel too bad. I mean, I can. I feel bad for the organization. I feel in the aspect of the fan base. I'm really was where I'm getting at. Just where the organization is. Like, I don't think no organization wants to have these type of issues where they.
But you literally created this issue. This is because of you.
Does not matter. And the reason why I'm saying that is I've seen the Bears make too many mistakes where I can't sit here and be like, I can sit there and just rag on them as a rival, but I'm coming just as a fan. Like, I mean, you don't want to see their franchise is kind of like, kind of got in a headlock right now. Like, what do you do? Because
they could have done the right thing.
Not what they could have done. It's like,
what do you do now?
Yeah. What do you do at this point? Like, it's cancer. If all the reports are correct, which they
never are.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? There could be some details left out that we won't hear maybe later or never. But with that being said, for what the story is, it's okay. If he said what he said, we haven't heard Aaron Rodgers say none of this stuff. But the fact that he ain't saying anything says something as well. Like, okay, you just gonna let this just fly for the rest of the summer, and they get all this bad publicity, all these distractions. I'm sure they got to still go to mini camps and still report, even though they're not talking about like, Green Bay reports on Tuesday. You don't hear none of that. All you hearing is the next saga in the Aaron Rodgers thing.
That comes literally next week.
Okay.
So we're in rookie mini camps right now. Like, the rookies are reporting at their facilities now.
Right.
Obviously, Penei Sewell's not. But next week, I believe, or it's either next week or the week after, is when veterans come in, or have they have the option to come in. Basically, it's voluntary workouts at this point. Until we get to June, I believe, is when we get to the real camps, and obviously August kicks things off with preseason usually. But those will be just I don't think we're doing. I think we have 2 or possibly 3 weeks worth of preseason games this year. It's going to be a shrunken preseason for sure this year.
Right.
So, I mean, at the end of it, I feel like this is a toxic situation that's been created by Green Bay's organization. So I don't feel bad for them at all. You had multiple opportunities to fix the situation before this got public.
But it just stands the question again. What do you do now? I mean, they won't out and they.
I don't care what you do now. You effed it up already. That's my situation.
I'm taking the fan, the rival stuff away. I'm just from an aspect of we're looking at this team. How do you fix this? Like, no matter who it could be. Let's just say it was Denver. Okay, how do you fix Denver now? But the question is, how do you fix this? And that's. I mean, there might not be an answer right now. However, it's just that's the question on the table.
I don't think there isn't. I think you don't know what to do until Aaron Rodgers or whoever it is says something. Because now all we got is these reports, and obviously these reports, and this is what I think a lot of people misconstrued. This didn't happen on draft day. The report just came out on that day. Mm-hmm. This is stuff that's been brewing for months behind the scenes, years, honestly, behind the scenes. And then somebody just reported it. I think it was Adam Schefter reported it on draft day to try to get some eyes.
Right.
So, honestly, Adam Schefter, great business model. You're doing great over there. But at the end of the day, like, they've been trying to work on it. They've been trying to get in contact with him. They've been trying to talk to him, ask him what he wants, what he needs to get this situation fixed. But you can't do anything because you've already gotten this situation bad. You've already created this toxic environment, and so you really need to make sure that you don't continue to foster this, and you have to fix it by either trading him or giving him what he wants. You just have to figure that out. Just ask him, what is it? What is it specifically that you want? And once he gives you that list, do that list, because there's no other way to fix it.
Mm.
There's not. I don't think there's anything else you can do. Obviously, he's under contract for the next 3 years, but there's no guaranteed money left in his contract, so you don't have anything going up against you.
I guess. Uh, you know, I was just I'm trying to be objectively fair here. Just
I think I am being
I mean,
fair.
no. I meant what you said was fine. I meant in the aspect of while I was struggling at the beginning of this take because I was gonna let my fandom lead the conversation. I'm like, well, it's not gonna go anywhere. But because I'd have been like, I don't.
And I'm not
get
saying this
get.
as a Bears fan. I'm saying I'm saying this if I'm a Green Bay fan, like I'd be pissed because if this was something that's been brewing for months on end, like I don't think this happens with any other team. And I think it goes to show literally what just happened with the Bears as opposed to what happened with Green Bay. Because this is about respect, in my opinion. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers cares about the money. He's made over, $240 million over his career is what, like, the reports are.
Something like that.
So I don't think this is about money. I don't think he's looking to, like, obviously he'll feel respected if you move around some money to make sure like you can guarantee some money for the rest of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like that's something that any GM can do. They can finagle it somehow.
Right.
But the difference is that, okay, in Chicago, we have Andy freaking Dalton, who's literally hasn't even been in the Chicago facility yet. And we
Still?
called they
won't let him in.
No, not up until this date. What I'm saying is before the draft.
I was about to say, wow.
Like he hasn't been working out. He hasn't been in the training facility yet at Hallis Hall. Like nobody has. It doesn't open up until after the draft.
Okay.
So he literally hadn't come in for anything yet except for to sign his contract with the Bears, and he got a call before they made the pick for Justin Fields. They just said, "Hey, Andy,
okay,
just to let you know, you're still the plan as it stands right now. We're drafting Justin Fields here. Hold tight."
Okay.
We gave him that respect, and he hasn't even been in our facilities yet. And compared to last year or 2 years ago at this point now, and when they draft Jordan Love, he got caught by surprise with that. He was thinking, oh, we're going direction of getting a pass rusher, create some pressure, or maybe a run stopper on the defense, or maybe we go get one of these or move up to go get one of these wide receivers. I'll be fine with either one of those. And nobody thought in a million years they're drafting a quarterback here. And then boom, they do it, and he doesn't return back on the Pat McAfee show later in the show to talk about it. Like, he's just seething. He's pissed. And he can say, and Aaron Rodgers can say that he wasn't upset by it. I don't have any issues with the pick or anything like that. But there's no way. I feel like that's just BS. And you're trying to save face because of what you said beforehand. No, like, that obviously has to get under your skin. But I don't think that was the catalyst. I think it's also once they fired Mike McCarthy. We had the whole report that came out that he went to the front office, told them, hey, this is the direction that I think that we should go. I think that if we did this, this, and this, that could definitely put us closer into position to getting a championship. We can go get some rings if we go in this direction and maybe focus on the offense a little bit more. Let's get me what I need here. And he's not asking, telling you, oh, nope, you freaking had to do exactly what I said, this, that, the other. But when you just wave somebody off,
comes off like that.
It can, but Russell Wilson.
I guess I'm thinking over time it's starting to. Some of these reports, you kind of get that message in there at times, depending on who's reporting.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. If it's coming from the organization side, yeah, he's gonna look like the bad guy. But if it's coming from whichever side, but I think that at some point you have to listen to your quarterback. You have to at least say, hey, what do you think about this pick? Or, hey, this is the plan that we're taking. This is where the direction that we're going. We're just giving you this information up front.
Okay.
But if you're just going to keep him in the dark 24/7, not say anything to him, not keep him in the loop about literally his future as the franchise quarterback, of course, no, I don't want to be there. I'm a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't need your bullshit.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, you can say that, but I mean, freaking Tom Brady walking around with 7. I'm talking about walking around with 7 rings. I think I would, you know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, you got 1 ring. I
true.
mean, you a Hall of Famer, but there's a lot of Hall of Famers with
Yeah.
1 rings walking around. You know what I'm saying? That's not a rare thing that's moving around there.
I understand that, but I would rebuttal with there's also a lot of Hall of Fame quarterbacks with 1 ring that have not nearly as much talent as Aaron Rodgers has.
That can be looked at as a con, not necessarily as a pro.
What I'm saying though is that he's literally asked you to do something to so that he can go out and get another ring,
True.
and you literally have all the reports are Green Bay has basically waved off Aaron Rodgers and will not take any of his advice and any credence to what he wants to do for his career. He could have more rings if they would have, in the last 10 years, drafted him 1 freaking offensive weapon. They haven't done that in the first round ever in the last 10 years that he's been there. And the one time that they did, actually, it was Jordan Love, his replacement.
Well, let me ask: do they actually need a rookie wide receiver or a rookie running back to bolster to help him as opposed to? I mean, I think that, and I'm saying that to say it's not like they have been not knocking it out the park in free agency because they bring people in there all the time. You know, not
True.
You know, I mean, not always necessarily the sexy pick this, sexy person that, but
Yeah.
you know, to get some solid tight end. I mean, I know they brought Jimmy Graham over there. Talking about beyond. I mean, you can go back through almost over 10 seasons. They just do this carousel of tight ends that they do. Remember Jermichael Finley?
No, I get what you're saying.
You know what
but
I'm saying? It's just they find talent or they find these little gems that is it Randall Cobb? Am I saying
Randall
that?
Cobb, yeah.
Yeah, Randall Cobb. I'm making sure I was saying the name. You know, what was the other
Jennings?
receiver? No, before Jennings. White guy.
Oh, Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson. Did they draft any of these people? I don't remember them drafting.
Jordy Nelson was drafted in the 3rd round. Jennings was drafted, I think, in like the 4th or the 5th round or something like that.
Yeah, it just hasn't happened recently, but it's happened. And I mean, I guess, and I'm thinking draft picks here and there, but they have always put talent around him. Now, in the last couple of years, he got something to complain about. I'm trying to be fair on both sides.
And what I'm saying is that I think I'm not talking about what happened before the Mike McCarthy riff. So for the last 3 years is where I found the issue.
Okay.
Before that, it's Aaron Rodgers. You've had weapons. You've had once Jordy Nelson left. I think that was the very, very beginning of it. Yeah. And then there was a time just before Mike McCarthy got fired that they got rid of his QB coach without talking to him. I think that's where people are saying that it all started. But then like Mike McCarthy, and then when he went in and talked to the front office, and then they literally just waved him off. They're like, okay, dude, we're like, we got our stuff over here. You go play football.
Right.
Once that started happening, where the front office was trying to be like, oh, we're over here. You guys go do your thing on the field. Go play in the grass like you always do. Type like demeaning him. Right. Like that's where I think the rift started. Anything before those last 3 years, that's Aaron Rodgers, and I think that's where his legacy may falter, is because hey, you've had a lot of good talent on your roster, and you were only able to get one ring. You need to calm down. But when you finally get rid of Mike McCarthy and you're trying to figure it out and you're saying, hey, I think if we go in this direction, possibly we can get it done. And you just continue time and time again, just wave them off. At some point, it's the organization's fault that we're in this position. Like, and it's not just because you're not doing what he's asked. It's the fact that you're not listening.
Right. Right. Well put. You have more the inside track about Green Bay than I do, because I don't want to even know.
I unfortunately love the Bears so much that I know as much as about each and every one of our rivals as well. So But Green Bay, if they have Aaron Rodgers, they're always going to be in playoff talk. So, god damn it. Moving on. Number 4. Who do you got?
Got the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh, okay. All right.
So you don't?
No, I've got Buffalo at number 4. I got
Ah,
Baltimore ahead of them.
that's interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for Baltimore, I mean, what needs to be said? I mean,
Yeah.
until further notice, until someone actually dethrones them in the AFC North.
Yep.
I mean, there's nobody that as we talk. Okay, let me just stop. I don't even want to finish that statement. As we talking about the top. Now we're in the top 5 of power rankings. This is really talking about when it comes down to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Buffalo beat Baltimore per se. Had they beat them last
Yeah.
year? Did they beat
They
them
beat them
last
last year.
Was it last year?
Mm. It was
That's right. Kansas City played Cleveland. That's right.
Kansas City played Cleveland, Baltimore and Buffalo. Kansas City and Buffalo played in
I
the
got
AFC
that.
Championship.
Yes. What I'm saying, they did beat them in the playoffs last year. Taking into account who both teams are, yes, Buffalo is trending at this moment, trending up.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore is already right there, and of course there was some regression last year, but a lot of this had to do with things that got addressed in the draft. For one, which is that it just um Baltimore just didn't have any. I mean, the passing game was just almost non-existent, and it
Yeah.
was just really everything was just put on the quarterback to make a play, and basically he basically carried the team on his back and damn near pulled it off. And that's just and Baltimore is perennially always a stellar defensive team, but just is if they have nothing else, they can always fall back on that, and that is something that they can hang their hat on. It's something I'm kind of impressed with. I don't like it because they always sitting there and they're always a threat, and they're always lurking around. And if you want again, it's one of them times, one of them teams you cannot let up off the gas on this team.
No.
Or they will. I mean, Lamar Jackson and the rest of this. My gosh. So anyway, I mean, you could take Buffalo, take Baltimore. It did. I don't have a problem either way. I put Baltimore here simply, just because Buffalo did get the win. They are trending up. They are the mainstay. However, it just I have to also see the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
If all this comes together, this can change.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's just the whole serve. It's nothing wrong with being at 4.
No.
I think maybe the divisional game is the only thing that kind of gave them that just pushed them from 4 to 3. It really doesn't come down to a whole lot of factors.
Yeah.
I think the teams are evenly matched. Like I said, you take either one, and I'll be like, that's fine. Now let's go with that one, and I have no problem with the one you didn't select. It's just they're that good. J.K. Dobbins going to get his first. They're going to try him out as as the featured back. The question is really remaining: what type of offense is this team going to be? Is it going to be a Lamar Jackson ran team where he does just whatever he does, his heroics? Does it become a run first team? Does it become a more pass happy team?
I think it really is dependent on Rashad Bateman. I think Rashad Bateman is the key.
Okay.
And I really like Rashad Bateman. So that's why I put them above Buffalo, is because I do believe that Rashad Bateman is going to maybe not be a bona fide number 1, but he's going to take that role at least for the Baltimore Ravens. Now a lot of people are saying Sammy Watkins is their for sure number 1. Sorry, Sammy Watkins in Kansas City didn't do it for me.
And by the way, this is our 3 and 4, so
yeah, true.
We just going.
Yeah.
No point in recycling in the next pick.
Yeah, so these are going to be the same points on each one.
Yes.
So Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, he's to me he's a bona fide number 2. Like he literally just cannot be the number 1. He can't do it, and so Rashad Bateman has to take that number one role, and I think he'll be fine. He'll be like an average number one, but that's all they need. They just need somebody that they can count on, and I'm hoping Rashad Bateman can be that guy. And Sammy Watkins will be a fantastic number three in my opinion. So I like that they made the move. They went to go get a guy, and then they went with another guy deep in the draft, Tylan Wallace as well. And they've got a lot of good receiver talent. They've got depth. They've never had that guy at the top. So I'm hoping Rashad Bateman can just be that average number one. Offensive line wise, the Ravens, a lot of people are making this whole stink about Orlando Brown. They got Alejandro Villanueva from Pittsburgh, so let's relax.
It has been just a carousel.
Yeah,
Fisher goes.
They literally just he went there.
You go from Pittsburgh to Baltimore. We're gonna put you over here, but some kind of way Pittsburgh got nothing. But
yeah,
in the midst of
because Pittsburgh sucks. No,
it was just funny how they got nothing when it came to the offensive line, and this is ridiculous because it was like I don't follow offensive linemen, but yet they're getting shuffled just like they were receivers.
You had to this year as a Kansas City fan.
Oh my God, I know all about the offensive line now, like all fully vested. Got a depth chart on my big board now, so I can look at it at all times. I need to know these people.
So yeah, and then so I think their offensive line is solid. They're still going to be a run heavy team. I think it's still going to be run first, but I think it's going to be a run first team that is not going to be so handicapped by their passing game. I think that they're going to be a little bit more towards closer to that average range of passing, that this team's just going to be that much better. I think and this is really, like I said, it all hinges on Rashad Bateman, unless they go out and go get a Julio Jones or whoever else. But it as it stands right now, it hinges on Rashad Bateman stepping up and being the number one guy. Which is tough for a rookie wide receiver, and I will admit that.
Gotcha.
But then they do have an aging defense, but still a very talented defense in all three levels. Derek Wolfe, Brandon Williams, Calais Campbell up front, Pernell McPhee rushing as well. Second level, you got Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison, Tyus Bowser. And then on the back end, Marcus Peters, Chuck Clark, Deshaun Elliott, Marlon Humphrey, a nickelback, and Tavon Young. So, and then they've got young talent helping out as well. Sean Wade, Brandon Stevens, Jason Oweh is coming in as a rusher. I don't know if are they trying to put him as a true linebacker, or are they going to use him as an edge rusher?
I don't know. That's a good question. We got. As of right now, they just got him just as a linebacker.
A linebacker, okay.
Just for now. I mean, but
we'll see.
That remains to be seen.
Yeah, and then they also have the best kicker in the game, Justin Tucker. So, man, this team is going to be fantastic.
The best kicker
in the league. Yeah. So, and then when it comes to Buffalo, to me, I love what they did on the offensive side of the ball. I love the pickup of Gregory Rousseau to help with their pass rushing. I think that was a huge step up. But I think that they could have gotten somebody better. I kind of wish they would have went with Azeez Ojulari up there. I liked him a little bit more, depending on who else was available. I know Jalen Phillips is already gone. A couple other rushers were already gone. But if they would have made like a trade up possibly to go get one of those guys, I think that would have been huge. Somebody who's a bona fide pass rusher that could make an impact this year. But Gregory Rousseau could be like a maybe, hopefully, by the end of the year, he becomes an impactful player. If not by the end of the year, 100% next year. I think he's going to be one of those guys. But he's a little bit more of a project. He's going to have to get a little bit of grooming before he becomes that bona fide edge rush talent that they're hoping for. So I think that's kind of where the difference is, because that's their biggest issue is edge rush. I think that's where they kind of got gashed.
I mean, Travis Etienne got snagged from him a few picks earlier, so they had no choice but to go defense.
Hoping that
they needed a running.
Their running backs can stay healthy. Devin Singletary.
They were
Zach
a fully
Moss.
intact team that could use a running back.
Yeah,
that was the very unique thing that I don't think nobody who took a running back could say that. They just took them,
yeah.
which is definitely in Jacksonville's place. Like, did you really need a running back?
And then I think the only reason why Jacksonville did that is because of their number 1 pick. They wanted to get their guy back,
Right.
pair them 2 up. And then they also fixed that in the second day.
Yes, they did. And getting cute. Yeah. Now, so yeah.
But then I also like their receiving core. Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis. They went and got Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley. So I mean, like they're looking good there. I really like the Emmanuel Sanders pickup. That was huge to me. I think
if he can come back and be what he was, because
fair.
I'm only saying, I'm not saying he fell off. I'm just saying I don't know what the heck we were looking at last year. Like, maybe I just don't think I don't think New Orleans just wasn't a good fit.
I think it was that.
It just, for whatever reason, it should have been a good fit.
I mean, it started. You could see it towards the end of the year. It started coming together.
Yeah,
but it was also Michael Thomas went down in week 1, and that kind of threw off everything. So
then Breeze went. It just
call it, because that's the first time I've seen Emmanuel Sanders just kind of be absolutely neutralized for a season. Yeah. So I'm calling that as an outlier for now. And if it happens again this year, then maybe he's washed.
He's done.
But I'm gonna call last year an outlier.
That's fine.
And then also, he doesn't have to be the number 1 guy. You got Stephon Diggs there.
Exactly.
So, and then you don't even have to be number 2. Cole Beasley.
About to say, hell, they ain't even number 2. Really. They have, they got 3 studs.
Yeah, and then you got the young kid, Isaiah Hodgins, too, who they got last year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see if he moves up the depth chart.
Yeah. It's just a nice situation for him. I like it. He doesn't have to do too much. He can just do his thing. Now, I will say they have a pretty average offensive line. Nothing kind of stand out there. Dawson Knox is their tight end. Yeah. And, hey, hopefully Josh Allen can continue getting better. And if he doesn't, hey, they got Mitch Trubisky backing him up. So, hey.
But I do have to say, I guess I didn't see this, but no. They did add Matt Breida.
Yes, they did at the running back position.
I think that helps. Now, y'all don't kill me for saying this. If this guy ends up being the number 1 running back next year, do not be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
All you fantasy owners, keep an eye out. Matt Breida.
Don't be surprised if I'm just saying things change around week 8, week 9. Evan Singletary might just be done by that point. But
yeah, that is the one glaring hole, I guess, is the running back health. I mean, Matt Breida doesn't stay healthy either, so.
No, but I mean, but you to have him on the roster, like if you can get 4 weeks out of this guy, that's 4 weeks you don't have to put in Zach Moss.
Fair.
Oh my God. I'm shameless with Zach Moss. Plug. My issue is really with Devin Singletary. I'm so disappointed.
He just can't stay healthy. He's so good when he's in there, but he can't play.
He just can't run 2-3 yards. He just can't stay healthy. He
can run 2-3 yards.
He just can't catch the ball on that play that he needs to catch the ball. He just keep. You know how your cup just can't. You can keep pouring into the glass and it just can't quite get full. That's just, dude. Why is there something always missing in your game every single time? And they always show up at the wrong time in the game. And he's still the number 1 start. I'm like, Buffalo. He is this stellar on both sides of the ball. Why is there such a stain on y'all run game? I just don't understand why the run game is so average. I won't even say bad. That's how bad it is to me. That I'm saying, literally, it's so average. At least bad, we know what you stand. When you just average. Okay, what are we doing today? 12 for 38, and you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. What is 12 carries for 38? Dude, go sit down somewhere. That's 38 38 more yards than we got. And we don't play in the NFL. I'm like, are you serious? That's 12 more carries than you got. And that's only because I don't play in the NFL. That's all you could come up with? Come on, I ain't enough. Who am I? Who am I to sit there and say, well, what would you do with 12 carries? Hell, I probably won't get 8 yards.
Yeah.
But the point being is, this dude, if you tell me if you do this for your profession, on average, that's what you're supposed to get? Because I don't think so. But, I mean, hell, what do I know? All I'm saying is that's not starter material. I do know that. That's not starter numbers. those kind of stats. I'm
Yes,
not. I know I just made up that stat.
no. And his numbers legitimately aren't number one running back numbers, and I give you that. But I think it's also because he literally isn't on the field enough, and that's my biggest issue. It's not the fact that he has average games. That happens to everybody. I mean, even Dalvin Cook had some pretty subpar games.
That's true.
And so I'm like, I'll give you 2-3 weeks where you just weren't able to show up. It happens. And I will give any running back the benefit of the doubt for that, whether it's Dalvin Cook, Devin Singletary, Matt Breida, whoever it is. I don't care. J.K. Dobbins, like anybody who has a bad week, you got a bad week. It happens in the NFL.
Right.
But my issue with Devin Singletary is the fact that he can't stay on the field for 10, 12, 13, 15 games. Like, I need you. Like, I've said it so many times on this podcast. Your best ability is availability. If you cannot play, why the hell am I paying you?
Right.
And if that's my issue, he can never freaking play. I've drafted him twice in fantasy, and I can't freaking play him because he can never be on the field. So that's where I'm at.
And I mean,
if he can stay healthy, he plays
right,
pretty
his
decent.
numbers is not that bad. I think that's the overall thing. It's just the collective body of he does not.
He's not on the field enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, dude, I can't take you serious, man. I mean, anything. I'm like, you come in like a special teams player, just you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Very simply put, he does not play enough.
Yes, and if he can finally this year play if he can just play 13 games this year, I'm not even asking you to play all 17. If you can get to 13,
has he played 13 any other season?
I don't know. Check. Has he?
Keep talking.
I just think that if he could get to, just above 10 at least. I don't know if he's even broken that. I really hope that he can get over 10. If you can get to double-digit games this season, you'll be fine, because then that means that you don't have to put Zach Moss in as much or Matt Breida in as much. He's good when he's in there.
Right.
It's just he's never in. So that's where I'm at with Buffalo. You have a fantastic team. You just got to really hope that what you put around Devin Singletary, he can play.
Okay. In his 2 seasons, he only missed 4 games.
Yeah, but with his rushing attempts per game, because he'll just sit on the bench. Is my issue.
Right.
Like, you just won't see him all of the second half. He's got some stinger.
Right. Well, you mean on his career or from last year?
I mean, yeah, with his career.
He's 4.8 yards per carry.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, he's good.
That's why I kept looking at that. I was like, and that number only got pulled down from last year at 4.4. Because this for his rookie year,
5.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. It's just I need you on the field, dude.
But yeah, what dropped them down is that averaging 52 yards a game. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad.
I just want to see
it could be better, but it's not bad.
I just want to see him on the field more. That's honestly all I really have an issue with. But let's move on. Top 2 here. Who is your number 2?
I don't have a number 2. I got a 1A, 1B here going. But anyhow, not
we got the same 2 at the top anyway.
Of course, I got Kansas City at number 2. Again, it's coming down to some little quirky factor, you know. And at this one, it was just head to head, who won the last game. For whatever it was worth, and it wasn't so much who won the last game. It was more so if Tampa was crowned champions, just on that alone, I'll put you at number 1. Just on that. That's it. Because you and the team that's right behind you is the team you beat. Other than that, I mean, by all means, who I feel is going to be number 1 next year? Come on, we already know.
I've got them at number 1. I have Kansas City as my number 1 team going into the season this year, and I'll say it's specifically because of literally what's happened in the draft and what's happened just after free agency. My issue with Tampa Bay and the reason why I've dropped them a spot, they're still a fantastic team and they deserve to be in the top 3 no matter what,
Mhm.
based off of winning the title last year. Yes, you brought back everything that you had last year, but running it back typically does not work in the NFL. It honestly doesn't. Just bringing back what you had before, and we've not seen it to this scale before, and I'll grant everybody that. You've never returned all 11 starters on both offense and defense on a roster ever before. That's never been done before. So
Right.
props, round of applause for Tampa Bay. That's a great move for you there. But you
Tree.
didn't get better is my issue. Is
Mm.
you didn't improve your team, and now chemistry wise, maybe that does kind of give you a tick above. But I specifically just don't think we got a full year now of Tom Brady with Tampa Bay.
I agree with everything you're saying. And the reason with changes is simply only because it's a post draft edition of our rankings.
Yeah.
Let's have this conversation in 2 more months after we got through mini camps. I get some reports of what's going on. Okay, now I can begin to tweak this because it's just as of right now.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, because I think you're because from what you've said, you're saying this is more of a post-season draft ranking, not a post.
No. I was saying in how we factor in some of these teams like in a top echelon, a top 10. You really have to start looking at this from a playoff aspect. That's what
Kansas City. This is why I like Kansas City so much, is because this team was so good throughout the entire playoffs. Even in that conference championship game, that was a little bit kind of slower and this, that, the other. It wasn't as exciting as everybody was hoping. I get that, whatever. But they didn't have as much of their offensive line talent. And granted, a couple of guys got injured in that game before heading into the Super Bowl. But this team now is so good everywhere. Like they don't have a hole besides defensive back.
Mm-hmm.
Like this team is not bad anywhere, just like Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay is literally just doing what they did last year. Kansas City got better. And so I'm looking at a team that I think is going to take I didn't think that it's possible, but they got they turned it up to 11 again. Like I thought they turned it up to 11 last year. They did it again. So like, man, Kansas City is just
taking it in stride. I don't know how to take this.
I just think Kansas City. I like what Kansas City did more in the offseason than what Tampa Bay's done. I think it's impressive what Tampa Bay's done. I think that I'm glad to be witnessing history with what Tampa Bay has done. I'm not going to knock them. Again, they're my number 2 team. This is literally me saying that I think that they might be in the Super Bowl again. So let's take that with a grain of salt. But
again,
I think Kansas City is better, and they've done more, and they on paper they have a better team now because of what they've done this offseason. They are able to bolster and they went from having literally backups playing in the Super Bowl to having their starters were average before. And I
understand,
but now they have the best offensive line and the most offensive line depth out of any team in the NFL. The best and the most deep.
But when it comes to Tampa Bay, they have not put that team. I'm not granted because of where we're at. They have not played them yet to say to prove that they're better with this team. Because as of right now, I mean, because I was saying Tampa came back with everybody, the same team. We're the same team. I understand what you're saying. I agree with that. However, we don't know what that looks like against this team.
But we know what that looks like from the beginning of the year. Like that they had a decent offensive line last year.
No.
And they went out and they were killing people. Then you got a better offensive line.
We don't lose offensive line. There's none of this conversation about the guy Tom Brady. They'll still be talking about, we think he'd go, because he would have lost and he might would have retired. Who knows?
I don't think he was retiring no matter what.
That. I'm just saying if they would have lost in the Super, depending on how I'm just saying you don't know.
I mean, I don't, but me personally, I don't think there's any way he would have retired after that loss, after a loss like that, especially because he's trying to prove. I thought there was a possibility that he might retire this year because he did win, but now he came back and he said he was coming back until he's playing 45. So I don't think he's going to do it.
You start jumping teams and then you're not winning anymore, like you It changes a lot of things.
I mean, you made it to the playoffs. Like,
let's be real. He didn't sit there and go to the Jets and then revitalize. You know what I'm saying? The team,
I mean, yes, Tampa Bay did have a good team, and it was him and 4 other dudes.
Right. They were only a couple players away from the playoffs anyway. And, of course, he brought him in a couple of players with him, and then here they go. You know, so I need to make sure we tell the tale right, because they be acting like, you know, Tampa Bay was in obscurity somewhere when they wasn't. You know, they were right there. You know, they were the Arizona, you know, one of them type of teams,
which is fair. And but what I'm saying is that this team, I just think that with the way that it's set up, with the way that it's set up, I think Kansas City on paper has a better team now than Tampa Bay has a team on paper. That's it. Now, again, like you're saying, you're looking for them to prove it first before you do it. I'm saying I don't need for them to prove it first. I think that they have. Like, on paper, it's already better, and they're gonna prove my list before you change your list.
To lose the one spot. That's how I'm looking at this. Now they get that. You just like, nope. They already.
No. I think they did lose it because they didn't get better. That's where I'm at.
They pulled off mathematical wizardry.
So did Kansas City.
Mathematical wizardry. You can't bring
Kansas City has a dude that is getting paid $500 million.
You can't bring back your whole. That deal was bogus, and them numbers was fudged from the beginning. We all knew it. I mean, come on. We don't even want to look at it, because it'd be like, dude, you didn't even fill out the rest of the numbers here. What happened here? You know,
there's still zeros to be added on.
We got to add those on later. We can't even do that. These contracts really are becoming jokes. You know,
well, that's what Tampa Bay did. So
that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm saying. Wizardry, like, really, because my point is, why have we never seen this before? If we could do this all the time. Like, are you telling me they did? You know, accountants are just now using advanced analytics.
I think it's a combination of Tom Brady and a combination of COVID. Guys are taking less money because they know more money is going to be coming on the way. And they want a shorter term deal so that they can go right back to the market, especially once these TV deals hit.
Oh, so there's a wrinkle.
Yeah. Got it. So I think that's how Kansas City got it done. I think that's how Tampa Bay got it done. Cleveland, for that matter. I think that's how all of these teams. Pittsburgh bringing back Juju Smith-Schuster on a 1-year deal that was 100% less money than what he was offered from Kansas City, less money than he was offered from a bunch of other teams.
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Like, you're taking less money so that you can hit the market again and get even more money than you would have.
So you telling me Juju think he's gonna get more money next year? I'm just throwing it out there.
I think that he thinks that. I don't believe it, because he's about to have a horrible season. Yeah.
Actually, you think that's what he believes?
That is what he believes.
He's getting more money.
Yeah.
Did he see what he did last year? Why he was out?
You
don't
gotta tell me.
Oh my God! You said okay.
It was bad.
I'm not even gonna ruin this take with him. That was my little sidebar. I'm done.
That's the only thing. And like you're saying, you are waiting for Kansas City to prove it. I believe Kansas City has proven it. They have put together. They literally went out and just said, "Hey, the only reason why we lost that game is because of our offensive line." I think we're all in agreement in that.
Everything you say, I've said off air, but it's just like, when it came to the power rankings, I was just like, well, I mean, out of fairness,
I think I'm being fair. I think I'm being fair. I think I'm giving.
I don't think you're being unfair. I just left it. It's Tampa Bay's to lose. That's all. But nothing. It can't be lost on the initial making of the power rankings. It's just theirs to lose.
What I'm saying, this is because this is a power rankings, and not just the teams; it's the whole organizations. And the organizations did not do what they needed, because this is the organization's season. No,
you saying they did? They didn't do. They did. That they planned. That what they had a plan and they executed it. I understand. You don't. You think the plan, and I agree, because
running it back doesn't work.
It never. Well, we don't have any. Yeah, we don't have any type of sample size that will show that it does, you know. But with that being said, history is not on their side, because, I mean, the frequency of a back-to-back Super Bowl winner is, oh my God, no.
It hasn't happened.
It's supposed to, up until a few years ago, it was almost every decade. It was
We
one
had
team
one.
every decade.
Yeah,
Now that's even getting pushed out even further and further now. So it's
because we didn't have one all of the 2010s. We
no,
had
so
no
it's been
back-to-backs.
20 years now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, yeah, I get it, and I mean I witnessed those back to back because it was like a Haley's Comet thing that came every decade, you know, and then it stopped, and now every time somebody went, I thought we were gonna see it last year, but
Yeah.
I'm pissed. Now they gotta start over and do it again.
Which they've set themselves to do it again though.
True.
So and that's why I have Kansas City.
Which is
number
I
one.
got them in this really, really strategic number 2 position. It's theirs for the taking. You know,
It's gonna be a big day when you move them up to number 1.
they already number
Week 1.
This is just a power ranking system, man.
Oh, sorry, when you move them to Seoul number 1 of your
So we'll get there.
Yeah, it's gonna be week 1.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We shall see.
Oh man, well, that is gonna do it for today's show. Thank you guys for listening. First, back to the housekeeping stuff again. Like, rate, and subscribe to the show. Again, if you're looking to see the full power rankings list, 1 through 32, go check it out on Twitter. Both of those will be up. Both mine and Curtis Fours will be on there, so you can go check that out there. Other than that, please share the podcast.
Send a shout out.
Anything.
Offer your top 10.
Comments down below. Tell me why me having San Francisco is way too high.
No. Much more egregious. How about the LA Chargers at 10? You know, no.
I'm approving. This is going to be a fun call out. I'm calling this back.
Curtis
somebody clip
has
this
a
right
West
now.
Coast bias going on.
I do
here.
not have a West Coast bias.
I mean, my God.
Can't wait for the day that I put Chicago in the top 10. That is going to be a fantastic day.
Well, if anybody wants to know, they're at 11.
Oh, you have them higher than I do. I have them at 14.
No, 11.
Wow.
Yeah, you be my 11 through 16 is weird.
Okay.
It's a weird number.
Oh, that would have been a great part of the podcast.
It
All
was. As y'all do, I mean, as Curtis Ford did mention quickly at the very beginning of this video that this was a take 2.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we're not gonna go into why we are in take 2.
Yes.
So.
We want to thank you guys again for listening.
Yes.
But definitely go check it out on Twitter. Look at the whole list there, and we'll have a full discussion on everything there, and in the comments down below. So thank you guys again for listening. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
All right. Have a good night. See you next time.